A great week of work out in Los Angeles for the New Orleans Saints is capped off by their first preseason victory of the year. 19-17, the final. Saints defeat the Los Angeles Chargers. It is the New Orleans Saints game recap here on CST. I'm Todd Graffagnini. This is John DeShazier. JD, definitely a tale of two halves. After a strong start by the Saints defense, the Chargers basically took over, scored the final 17 points of the half, then didn't score again as the New Orleans Saints got to 19. The field goal by Wil Lutz was the game winner with 1 minute, 5 seconds as the Saints shut out the Chargers defensively.
Thank goodness for two halves, because that first half, offensively especially, was not anything that the Saints will like or would be proud of. A lot of corrections need to be made off that first half, especially when you've got your number one offense out there, as it were. Teddy Bridgewater at quarterback, no Teron Armstead at left tackle, but still you hope to see more efficiency than what the Saints were able to produce in that first half. A couple of turnovers, costly, couldn't move the football very well, some penalties that were costly. And so those are things that, again, correctable errors, but things you don't want to see on the football field, especially when they're things that you don't feel like should happen. And the Saints aren't going to be happy about them.
Yeah, one of those things. Also, a punt return for a touchdown with just 3 seconds left in half to put the Chargers up 17-3. Obviously, that has to get cleaned up.
Yeah, you want to get the guy on the ground. I mean, that's the main thing. Get the guy on the ground, and a couple of guys whiffed on him, and it winds up being 6 for going the other way. And again, a special teams error that you don't want to see. I thought it was a fabulous punt by Thomas Morstead, a good cover punt, but they didn't get him on the ground, and that's the main thing. And so they're going to be really, really unsettled about some of the things that they saw.
Well, you fast forward to the second half, and the best player on the field was New Orleans Saints quarterback Taysom Hill, who threw 2 touchdown passes. He led the team in rushing. He electrified the crowd here with his long 23-yard run to set the Saints up for a touchdown. And Taysom, I tell you, he was very sharp. He looked like a quarterback out there.
Graff the dude, he's built like a superhero. Yep. I mean, and he played like it in that second half. Really carried the offense, even when the offensive line breaks down. He's the guy who can move around, get outside the pocket, and either he can throw it or he can run it. And you like him in either one of those situations right now. Probably a little bit more comfortable running it once he breaks the contain than he is throwing it right now. But he certainly did some great things in that second half. The touchdown throws, especially the one to Austin Carr, is what you want to see from your quarterback. And the runs, you mentioned the long run, but it's all the things that he does to give you energy, just his presence. You feel like you have a chance, and that's the epitome of what you want in your quarterback.
Well, you throw on top of that the Saints trailing 17-16, and he takes you on the game-winning drive. So he did it all today, as again, Wil Lutz completed the comeback with the 28-yard field goal, 1:05 to go. Let's go to the locker room and hear from head coach Sean Payton, who addressed the media.
You know, I told our players after that game, I felt like it was obviously 2 different halves. A lot of things that were frustrating, discouraging, things that we're going to have to clean up when we watch the tape tomorrow. And then some things that were more encouraging in the second half. So by no means is it a game you come away from and feel like, man, you're ready for the regular season to start. We've got a lot of work still to do. So I thought we played pretty good defense early in the game. I thought offensively we were awful.
Well, JD, early on in the football game, the Saints defense dominated, specifically Trey Hendrickson, who played left defensive end. He played right defensive end. He wreaked havoc on the Chargers line. He forced rollouts. He forced incompletions. He was held 3 times. The man got it done.
Yeah, Graff, he plays both of those positions. He's capable of playing both of those in positions. But I don't know the last time I've seen a more impactful one-tackle game where a guy who lived in the backfield and really just threw the Charger offense out of rhythm. Every time you turn around, he either was chasing the quarterback or got his hands on him. He was doing the same thing with running backs. Didn't get him on the ground, but he forced them off of where they wanted to go and allowed his teammates to come in and support him. I thought it was a really, again, a borderline dominant performance for a quarter and a half or so while he was on the field.
Let's go back to the podium and hear from Trey Hendrickson.
At the end of the day, it's just want to. But like I said, I need to finish plays that were left out there, and that's what I plan on to do moving forward. Just listening to Ryan in the meeting rooms, and where to place your hands and eyes and stuff like that. It's just those are things that help you see things quicker, and it's just a focus. And like I said, it's everyday thing.
I think he has a great understanding for the defense. He really understands fronts, alignments, and he's definitely become a student of the game, and definitely working on his technique, and that goes to Coach Ryan and the defensive line, obviously working with these guys. But he came in a little heavier this year, which is good for him, and I think it's definitely paying off. No, Trey's very, very reserved, I think, as far as he keeps to himself. Obviously, he can be fiery on the field, which we like. Obviously, if we keep him in check, but I think he definitely brings a lot of positives to this football team, and I think he'll be a force to reckon with once the regular season comes.
Well, JD, we just heard from linebacker A.J. Klein. He had a fantastic game, got an interception on a tip drill. He made a big stop on a 4th down run. And look, he has been in the system now 3 years, and he's just a really, really solid player for the Saints defense.
Yeah, really smart guy. We know that he was a solid player in Carolina, backing up Luke Kuechly, and now we're seeing some of those qualities here with the Saints. The interception, he said, look, I was just in the right place at the right time. But still, you got to be in the right place at the right time to be able to take advantage. And the 4th down stop I thought was really good. Also drew a holding penalty on a pass rush where the Saints are allowing him to blitz a little bit more now. So we're seeing the total package, I think, out of A.J. Klein.
Let's go to A.J. Klein on the podium.
Coming off of last week, we were a little disappointed with a few big plays that we gave up, explosive plays. So coming back, we want to be able to be stout in the run game and obviously get off the field on 3rd downs. I think we did that. So that was a step forward, but 2nd and 3rd groups, obviously we still have things to improve on, some self-inflicted wounds, personal penalties, or personal fouls. But I think we came out in the second half, especially the 4th quarter, and definitely turned the momentum back in our favor, and obviously interception to seal the game too.
When we return to the New Orleans Saints game recap show right here on CST, we'll go in-depth. Tremendous performance by quarterback Taysom Hill. Welcome back to Dignity Health Sports Park. It is the New Orleans Saints game recap right here on CST. The New Orleans Saints defeat the Los Angeles Chargers 19-17 to go to 1-1 in the preseason. Todd Graffagnini, John DeShazier here on the show. JD, we talked at length about the performance from Taysom Hill at quarterback, team leader in rushing, threw 2 touchdowns. He was accurate, only 4 incompletions. It was Taysom time in LA.
Yeah, he led the team in rushing, as you mentioned, 5 carries, 53 yards. But really, I think it's the 11 of 15 passing that he's going to be the most proud of. He's a guy, he can make things happen once he gets outside the pocket. If things close in on him, he's able to create something with his legs. We already know that, and the Saints will have some designed runs for him as they have in the last couple of seasons. However, when he's throwing it as accurately as he did in this game, and that touchdown pass to Austin Carr was about as good a throw as we will see out of anybody. When you see those kinds of throws, those are the plays that encourage Coach Sean Payton, encourage offensive coordinator Pete Carmichael, and make you feel like Taysom Hill can be the player that they believe he can be as a quarterback in the NFL.
Let's go to the podium and hear the player of the game, quarterback Taysom Hill.
Everything starts with us. We touch the ball every play, and after a play, you try to create a mindset that, hey, stay in the moment, on to the next. And I will tell you, the only thing that's really frustrating for me, and sometimes as a quarterback you have to check yourself, but you can't let a previous play dictate what's going to happen next play. And so, look, everyone on our team wants to go out and be really successful, and they're going to go out and do the best that they can every play, and stuff happens. So the only frustrating thing is if guys let that linger, which I didn't think that happened tonight. We had a couple turnovers, and then the next drive we were able to bounce back, and I thought that was a really good thing coming out of the game. But I felt like we were able to move the ball, and if things broke down, like, we were able to avoid negative plays. And I know I gave up a sack, but we were able to come back from that and convert on 3rd down later. So I think having the ability to make plays when things aren't there just make us more difficult to stop, and again, just avoiding negative plays. I think sometimes you get in training camp and they're long days, and you forget, and you oftentimes have to remind yourself that we get to play this game, and this isn't work, and it's a lot of fun to have the opportunity. Not many people get to. So having the opportunity to get on the field and play is a great opportunity. We had fun today.
When we come back, we'll have our final segment from California on the New Orleans Saints game recap right here on CST. Final segment of the game recap right here on CST. The New Orleans Saints defeat the Los Angeles Chargers 19-17. Well, JD, we enjoyed 5 wonderful days out here on the West Coast. Now it's time to get back to New Orleans as the Saints prepare for the New York Jets next weekend in the Meadowlands.
Yeah, we were able to run from the heat a little bit. We got out here. The Saints were able to get some quality work in. Fantastic weather, as you mentioned, against a fantastic quality opponent. Now it's time to get back home and hopefully wrap this thing on up.
All right, JD, thanks for all of your help here this week. I want to remind you that the New Orleans Saints will have 2 more open practices on Wednesday and Thursday. Thursday, the official final day of training camp. Wednesday's practice will have tickets available to the public. So if you have not come on out to the Ochsner Sports Performance Center this summer, come on out. You have an opportunity to see your Saints 2 more times. That's going to do it from the West Coast. Our next show will be Wednesday right here on CST. Todd Graffagnini, John DeShazier, thank you so much for joining us. Have a great weekend.